everybody. Welcome to Chi-Town and Charm City. It is February 8th, 2022. Late at night, I have this mood lighting ambiance right now.
I'm loving it.
I'm telling you, this is like exactly what I imagined it. I feel like I'm in a Chicago speakeasy right now.
Exactly. That's what it's meant to be, baby. That is what we were meant to create. That feel right there.
And normally we do the podcast during the day, but I feel like this is an evening time podcast. This is evening
For
time
sure.
lighting, and Chicago's an evening time city. So I'm here
Absolutely.
with my co-host, Josh Gators. Welcome back, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing all right. The NFC Championship game was last weekend, and I gotta say, I have to now hop on the Rams bandwagon. They took care of business against the 49ers. Final score was 20-17. There's two really good storylines going on for the Rams right now. One of them is the one that we've been talking about, Matt Stafford, right? Like, first off, how fucking rad is it that this guy is going to the fucking Super Bowl? Can you believe that?
Finally, right here. I feel like he deserves to be, especially after like we said, a decade and some change, 13 years of just trudging it through in Detroit. I think he absolutely deserves to be where he's at.
What a humble guy too. Like every time he does his post-game interviews, he always seems very quiet, very subdued, very like, oh shucks, thanks. Like, I'm thankful to be here. Like, this is very professional. The guy has been playing for a long time. I mean, this is his 14th season in the league, right? Because he did 13 with Detroit. This would be his 14th. And
mind-blowing.
To see him get all the success, at the end of the game, I saw a cut up to the Stafford family who was sitting in one of the booths, and they were just going like ballistic. The wife was up there 3 years earlier. She had surgery to remove a brain tumor. It's just a great story. It's awesome.
Feel good story all around.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And you say that as an NFC North rival too.
You know, I do. Like I said, we obviously know what we are looking at here in Chi-Town and Charm City. I'm a huge Bears fan through and through, and having the Lions be one of our weaker rivals, but rivals nonetheless, I am very happy to see success for Matt Stafford. It's hard to be in the NFL. It's hard to lose in the NFL. It's even harder to win in the NFL. So for him to have, like I said, the type of success that he's having now, it doesn't feel like he's lucky at all. It feels like he's earned it. He's earned every step of the way. And for the 49ers to be the last team that they have to face before a hell of a Bengals team in terms of youth, in terms of hunger, in terms of drive, motivation, it says a lot.
Stafford led 3 straight fourth quarter scoring drives to erase the 10-point deficit. The 49ers built this lead, and it wasn't like I never felt it was a dominating lead, because there were a lot of things that the Rams were doing to the 49ers that I thought were the most effective things they could have done during the game. They completely shut down the run. I mean, San Francisco could not run the ball. And when that happened, they had to rely on Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think this is a classic example of a game where you see that if you replace Jimmy Garoppolo with some other guy, maybe you would see a difference in the way the offense functions. Is that too much to say? Like, am I putting this loss too much on Jimmy G? Or, I mean,
not at all.
Matt Stafford balled out, right?
Absolutely. Not at all. I don't think so. I think there were a lot of miscues and opportunities for the 49ers to capitalize on that they missed. The interception, or the possible interception by Tart, being one of them. I really think that the 49ers were outmatched and outclassed by the Rams, who not only were hungrier, but had a roster, better talent on paper, and what showed up on field. So no, I don't think that this was all on one quarterback or the other. I don't think this was all on one defense or special teams or another. I think this was a complete matchup of both teams and who was better. And we saw that the Rams outmatched the 49ers. So no, there were a couple of different things that the 49ers could have done that I think would have saved them this game. Once again, that interception, or the possible interception by Tart, he is on his way to the end zone, if nothing else, at least in Rams territory, like you mentioned. So, no, the Rams came to play, and they had a better team.
That Tart drop. I mean, oh my God. Do you think that's probably, they talk about players remembering things for the rest of their lives during their playing career? That's
going to
probably
hurt.
one he remembers for the rest of his life, man. I mean,
That's
maybe that
hurt.
might be the biggest, that might be the defining moment of this guy's career. We never know.
For sure. For you to be in such a position so close to the Super Bowl and not be able to capitalize on such an opportunity, yeah, you're going to think about that one for the rest of your career, if not life, for sure.
It's brutal. It's kind of like the opposite effect of the David Tyree catch, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's sort of the opposite effect. You'd rather have the Tyree label than the Tart label in this case. But yeah, that was a backbreaker. At the end of the day, one team had Matt Stafford and the other team had Jimmy Garoppolo, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Really, you saw his limitations in this game, I felt like.
You certainly did. You certainly did.
And now it seems like he's gone. Like he's going to be going somewhere else. So we're going to play a game, Josh.
Okay.
It's called Where's Jimmy Garoppolo Going?
Jimmy G's destinations. Let's see.
So it's got to be a place that's pretty desperate for a quarterback, obviously. I mean, desperate enough where you have a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of arm talent, good locker room guy, it seems like. At the 49ers, Aaron Andrews went on the Pat McAfee show and said that the 49ers love Jimmy G.
The facilitator for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So maybe he'd be a good, maybe he doesn't always make the best decisions. He throws balls that are wild. He did it again in this game. But he should be a starter somewhere, right? Exactly. We don't think Jimmy G's a backup quarterback.
No, not at all. And I'd love to see, on the note of offensive lines and their strength, I would love to see a Jimmy Garoppolo in a healthy offensive line situation, just to be able to see the decisions he makes with the kind of time that I feel like a quarterback in this league needs. Defenses have gotten faster, bigger, stronger, and blitzes are coming at you way quicker. So with a solid offensive line, I'd love to see what Jimmy Garoppolo can do. But yeah, it's really hard to say where he's going to go with a lot of teams needing a quarterback, but him not really fulfilling that role or checking all of those boxes in that role.
I've narrowed it down to a few teams.
Okay.
The Texans need a quarterback. Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's a possible destination. I don't know if Jimmy G wants to necessarily pivot from the 49ers to the Houston Texans. You'd be playing Derrick Henry twice a year. You'd be playing the Colts twice a year. I don't know. That team doesn't have a whole lot of talent on it, I don't think. A lot of their talent left. J.J. Watt's gone. D-Hop's gone. The quarterback, the reason we're talking about it is because Deshaun Watson sure as shit doesn't want to play there. It just doesn't seem like a situation Jimmy G would want to find himself in.
Exactly.
The Texans would want him, but Jimmy G wouldn't want to go there, right?
I think where football is at, like you mentioned, I would rather be on the Colts or the Texans side of playing the Texans than on the Texans side of playing the Colts and the Titans. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah. So no, I don't see that happening for Jimmy G if he has a lot to say where he goes.
Yeah, he might. Who knows? I don't know. Next team, Washington. Do they need a quarterback? You like Heineke?
I like Heineke for where Washington is. They got a new slogan, or not a new slogan. They got a new team name.
Hold on, real quick. What do
We're going to talk about the Commanders?
What do you think?
I like the Commanders. I do. It fits the DC profile of, government. It's one of those things where it's a new branding, kind of feels like a new team almost. But yeah, I like Heineke for where Washington is. However, it's hard to say if Garoppolo fits in that system.
I like the uniforms.
I do.
I don't like Commanders. And a lot of the people in DC are not liking it either. I think they realize that it's kind of, at this point, putting lipstick on a pig, right? Like with the scandal that went on with Washington, the John Gruden fallout from that stuff, the inappropriate sexual misconduct that now women are coming out in front of congressional meetings alleging that Dan Snyder was trying to lead them into cars and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And making poor decisions. So that stuff is now coming out. I like the Washington football team. If there's a team that represents
super generic.
Well, no, not generic, maybe not generic, but like stiff, very formal.
Yeah.
Think about all the shit that you see in DC, right? The Capitol.
It fits as well.
The Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Martin Luther
Memorial.
King Jr. Memorial, the Washington football team.
It makes sense because in a meta kind of way.
Yeah, I like it. I liked that. I liked that name. I thought it was really good. It reminded me of like the Premier League teams that you see in England.
Absolutely.
I kind of liked it. I was like, yeah, that you don't have an animal or you don't have like a crazy name, but for the city that you're in, I thought it kind of worked. But you know what? They decided to go with Commanders.
I like it in the sense. Let me reframe that. I like it in the sense of it feels like a launch pad to something else. I don't feel like Washington is done with their rebranding, but I do feel like they had to get away from Washington football team as it pertains to the NFL in general and what it stands to be. So I like it not for the long term, but I do like it as it fits the whole DC profile and how I see DC. So I'm not opposed to it.
There are a lot of people who say that it's going to wear on people, not wear on people, but like it's going to
grow on them.
Yeah, it'll grow on them. Thank you. That's the term.
And I think it will. I definitely think it will.
There are people who say that for sure. There's also people who are saying it's going to be great for away teams because they can go in and call them commies. And the colors are red and gold, which are the colors of the Russian flag, dude.
Exactly. The Spetsnaz, baby.
That's not
hammer
great.
And sickle.
That's not a great look at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, so we're out on Washington. Taylor Heineke is going to be there. There are weapons on that team. Now, I know we're making fun of their name, but the Commanders have Terry McLaurin, really underrated wide receiver, really good. They've got McKissick. They've got Antonio Gibson running the ball.
Got a lot of threats.
They have something there. I don't think that team is a lost cause, really. I think if they get a franchise quarterback, that team looks a lot different. And then with Chase Young healthy on the defensive side, they obviously didn't take the step forward they needed to this year, but maybe they do it next year. I don't know. Washington wouldn't be such a terrible place, but I'm saying no. I think they stick with Heineke or they try the draft 2 years from now.
The question is whether or not Jimmy G is a franchise quarterback, like you said, and I don't know that he is, but it's really one of those situations where it's a plug and play kind of a deal. It's what are you going to get out of Jimmy G? Not so much what weapons he has, more so on the offensive line, but all around, I think it's a question of what Jimmy G are you going to get Sunday to Sunday. So,
right.
All right. I don't like the Washington Commanders either. Not for him.
All right. So we'll skip on them. How about this one? Now that Joe Judge is gone, the New York Giants.
I could definitely see
red, white, and Daniel Jones stuff. Is that? It doesn't sound like they want to get rid of this guy. It sounds like they want to keep him. I haven't heard any news that would suggest that they're going south on Daniel Jones. But if Jimmy Garoppolo, New York City, Jimmy. New York City, Jimmy G, dude.
New York City, Jimmy, baby. I love
it. NYC, Jimmy G. That's the best
NYC,
in
Jimmy
the NFL.
Let's go.
Period.
I love it. NYC, Jimmy G. You know what? I think that he fits in that system too. You said, the absence of Joe Judge will allow him to really sprout as a quarterback with a new coach. But I don't know. I'd like to see that. I would not mind looking at him in a uniform, in a Giants uniform.
He could dump it off to Saquon if he gets in trouble. They've got some
problem no matter what.
They've got some receivers on that team, and
absolutely.
I don't know. That's a possibility. I think they like that Daniel Jones can run. He's very mobile. He's athletic. He is, man. He is. He's more athletic. He's more.
Oh man.
He's more mobile than Jimmy G is. I mean, he had that touchdown. He never scores any of these fucking touchdowns. Like that one touchdown where he was running towards the end zone and he tripped and he fell. Man, if he just stayed on his feet, that would have been an amazing touchdown run, right? Like 80 yards or something like that.
Isn't that the opposite of athletic? I'm just saying. I don't know.
He shouldn't have fallen. I think he was too hyped up, dude. I mean, quarterbacks are not supposed to be running like 70 yards down the field. It just doesn't happen.
Very good point. Very good point. How often are you in a situation where your quarterback has to, do running back type work?
I'm in that situation every single year. And you might be too if Justin Fields, if they figure out what to do with him now that you've got some new people up in the building. All right, next team. Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns.
I'm still stuck on Baker. I love Baker Mayfield. He's not there yet, and I don't know if he'll get there in Cleveland. But it's whether or not they want to move off of him for Jimmy G, because I could see them moving off of him, but whether or not it's for Jimmy G, I don't know.
What do you think? Do you think this is the year they move off Baker? I don't think so. I think they keep him for now. He was hurt, man. He got hurt.
Exactly. And it depends. It really depends on who you move him for.
Do you think Jimmy G is better than Baker Mayfield?
I think in a lot of ways they're the same quarterback. Obviously, different archetype, different body build, but the results lend themselves to being similar because they're just not in that next tier category of quarterback. So on any given Sunday, they're the same guy. And no, I don't think Jimmy G's any better than Baker Mayfield's any better than Jimmy G, if that makes sense. So I'll just leave it at that.
The big outlier with Jimmy G for me is the coaching tree he comes from.
And then there's
drafted by the Patriots, so he goes to Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, maybe not in a penny move against Tom Brady, trades Jimmy G to the 49ers, where he has Kyle Shanahan, who's this offensive guru. Although he had some questionable analytics calls in this game that we're going to go over in a little bit.
Saw your notes on that.
Yeah, it's just a weird fourth down punting situation, but I don't know. He's had those guys his entire NFL life, and you have Baker Mayfield, who had Freddie Kitchens as his coach at one point, and Hugh Jackson, and you're like, fuck, man, like, did he get the best deck of cards?
Exactly.
No, I don't know. And he was hurt in week 2. They're going to give Baker another shot. I don't know. Do they pay him though? That's the
exactly.
He's going to be looking for a contract, just like Lamar is looking for a contract right now. Although the Lamar Jackson negotiations are kind of weird. So,
and I think he's closer to getting that contract, whatever he's looking for, at least within reason, than Cleveland would be with Baker.
100%. Yeah, 100%. There's still a chance that Baker is not on this roster next year. I don't see that happening unless you think you can get. Because Aaron Rodgers is going to be on the market, even though I think he goes back to Green Bay. People are going to be trying to court him. There's Russell Wilson. It looks like he's going to be leaving because Pete Carroll just signed an extension with Seattle. So they're probably going to get rid of Russ, and Russ has made enough noise down there. Kyler Murray, depending on what's going on with his Instagram account or whatever, I think it's all bullshit. But maybe who knows? Maybe there's an opening in Arizona. Chubb and Kareem Hunt running the ball. Absolutely. You can dish off to them. You've got good wide receivers. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a good wide receiver, will make you look good.
Absolutely.
You've got Austin Hooper as a tight end. Jimmy G.
He could definitely shine bright. He could definitely shine bright in Cleveland in terms of offense. And then, of course, you can't forget the standout Myles Garrett on defense.
Right.
It's a very good fit. I could see him succeeding in Cleveland long term. I could, but I don't think that Cleveland moves off of Baker, which says a lot about Baker and says even more about Cleveland this season for Jimmy G. So
you and I, we're like good fit, but won't happen.
Oh, no, absolutely. More than likely won't take place because of the fact that they don't want to get rid of Baker.
Right.
So,
okay.
And I think, and it's unfair to Jimmy G because I think the Baker story is over in Cleveland, but
I know
it's one of whether or not they want to hold on to him and how long for. So
yeah, it doesn't, and especially with OBJ playing the way that he's playing. I mean,
oh my God.
9 catches, 113 yards. Didn't score touchdowns, but didn't really had some big catches anyway. I don't know. It's starting to look like OBJ was right in that whole thing. Just interesting.
Let me just say this: anytime, like we discussed, that OBJ is your 2. And could be a 1 anywhere else, you have a problem on your hands with that team.
And Van Jefferson is a 3 that could play as a 2. I mean, it's fucking.
Oh my God,
they're unreal. Okay,
absolutely unreal.
Next team for Jimmy G, Pittsburgh. No,
I don't think Mike Tomlin would put up with inadequacy for too long. So I don't see him staying. I don't even see him getting a chance. You know. You coming off of a legacy quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger for I don't know how long Tomlin had him. Yeah, I don't see them going to Jimmy Garoppolo. Then again, it's not like you have much of a choice in terms of your picks. So I'd like to see what Pittsburgh does in the draft when it comes time to quarterback. That's what I'll say.
We're skewering Jimmy Garoppolo here, but I
don't think so. I think we're giving him a lot of good analytics for him to bounce off.
Jimmy Garoppolo or Mason Rudolph? Jimmy G, dude.
I was gonna say I didn't see enough of Mason Rudolph outside of the problematic fight with the Browns.
Yeah.
I didn't see too much of him to be like, oh yeah, I'm high on Mason Rudolph for the future. Yeah, I'm definitely going with Jimmy G on that one for sure.
See, there's some Jimmy G love. This is the situation that I see with Pittsburgh. You know how we talked with the Texans? That's a situation where the team would want him, but Jimmy G wouldn't want to go.
Exactly.
I think this is the opposite situation where
he would want to go, but the
Jimmy
team
G would right. Jimmy G would want to go, but the Steelers are not interested. I think,
and that's a shame too. I think he could really do well with Schuster. I think that connection right there would. He's a tall, lanky guy. He can see over his O-line. He can get the ball with the right coverage. He could get the ball to his wide receivers. I would love to see that for sure.
He has problems pushing the ball down the field, though, and I think Tomlin wants a quarterback that can fucking throw the ball. I think he sees what's going on with Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Exactly.
And he's like, okay.
You're watching the rest of that conference. Yeah, for sure.
They're one of the most storied franchises in the NFL. They could get a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, and they wouldn't have to wrangle with Jimmy Garoppolo. I just don't see them wrangling with him. So no for that one, for the opposite reason of the Texans. The Titans.
I could definitely see that as well.
Are you in and out or out on Ryan Tannehill? I guess that's the question.
I really think it's an unfair question because I really think Derrick Henry has bailed them out of a lot of situations that they've been in. And I think without Derrick Henry, they probably would not have been in the postseason. However, they proved that wrong this season, which is crazy. You have to give him props where props are due. He got them to where they were in post back-to-back seasons. So I don't know. I'd like to see them compete. I really would. I would really like to see them, those two quarterbacks, compete for that job in Tennessee. That would be a hellified showdown for sure.
Decent weapons on that team. Julio Jones is your two when he's healthy. I mean, I thought he had a pretty good playoff game against the Bengals this year.
Certainly.
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers bought a house in Nashville.
Personally, I could really care less than I already do with what Aaron Rodgers does with his money and his time. But hopefully it doesn't burn down,
I think it's the best. If Aaron Rodgers were to leave Green Bay, it's the best landing place for him. It's Nashville, Tennessee, where he's got fucking country and rock bars that he can go to all night.
That he loves.
Right. The Tennessee Titans are right. I mean, have you been to Nashville?
I keep hearing more and more about Nashville and Memphis. It's crazy.
It's awesome.
We need to take a trip?
Yeah, I would love to do that. Yes.
All right.
It's a blast. I went there on a cross-country trip, and we stopped in there. We went to the Johnny Cash Museum. Awesome place. And good place to live around Nashville, too. I guess it's on the come-up. But he just bought a house down there. He'd be great in that offense. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he would.
With fucking A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry in the backfield. He would be
Julio Jones, like you said.
He'd be in a division with the Jaguars, the Titans, and the Colts. He'd make it to the playoffs every year.
All you would really have to do is face the Chiefs, at least for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
It's a great spot. It's a great spot in terms of transitioning because you don't have Lazard and Adams, but you have A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, arguably the same wide receivers, just a little bit older. So I don't know. Julio Jones has proven to really outmatch a lot of the DBs that he comes across, especially post-Falcons career, which is absolutely mind-blowing, but it speaks a lot about the Alabama prototypes that they put out. So, that all bias aside, Rodgers in Tennessee would probably be his best bet.
So then in that case, Jimmy G's got no chance. So we won't linger on the Titans any longer.
Not at all. Not for Tennessee.
Carolina.
I could definitely see it. But they have a lot to figure out in terms of what they want to do. I think their front office has a lot of restructuring to do before they start talking about who they want to play quarterback. You brought in Cam Newton midway, and it's like, okay, so what are we going to do with Sam Darnold? What are we going to do with Hubbard? I mean, you got a lot to fix before you can just throw in Jimmy G in that equation and expect him to work. So I don't like that. I don't like that for Jimmy G's career.
I like it for the team, though. That would be an upgrade.
Exactly. That would be a really big upgrade for sure.
New Orleans. Now that Sean Payton is out, maybe things get mixed, or maybe this new head coach isn't so high on Jameis Winston. Maybe he's not so high
Exactly.
on
Which changes the trajectory for the NFC South. I mean, Tom Brady leaving football and Peyton no longer coaching, and those being the two strongest teams in that division. Wow. I like Jimmy G. I do like Jimmy G in a New Orleans uniform.
Tampa Bay, now that Tom Brady is retired.
No, it's not going to happen. He's already a Tom Brady disciple. It happened in New England. It wouldn't happen again. It wouldn't ever happen again, I don't think.
Yeah, different regimes. And I think it's one of those things where, I don't know, Tampa Bay might be doing some soul searching here now that Tom Brady isn't part of the team anymore. I mean, I don't know what that team looks like going forward, but they might be looking for a quarterback. That's a landing spot. Denver is another one. Mm-hmm. They're in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes too, right? They just signed a Packers offensive coordinator to be their head coach. Maybe they're in the way. And I think they hired another Packers guy to be their tight ends coach.
But I think Aaron stays with Green Bay for his wide receivers more than he leaves for his OC.
Oh, but they got good wide receivers there down in Denver, Josh. They got Jerry Jeudy. That's got
true. Young wide receivers as well.
I don't know. That could be.
It's like I hear you. I do hear you. I wouldn't mind leaving Green Bay. If I was Aaron Rodgers, I wouldn't mind leaving Green Bay for the potential that Denver shows. Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
So Jimmy G, I don't think he's a part of the Denver, but he might end up there if they can't nab Rodgers.
If he goes to Denver, yeah, he is probably a transition quarterback. Whereas if he goes to Carolina, he's the long term.
Denver's also going to be under new ownership too. The Broncos are up for sale, so
selling the team.
Maybe you don't want to bite on a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo when there's leadership's going to be changing hands, owners are going to be changing hands. So we know with new ownership, there's definitely going to be new hires. So
absolutely,
maybe Denver's not a spot he would necessarily want to go. Another spot, and that this is if Russell Wilson leaves, is Seattle. Go to Pete Carroll, stay in the division.
I don't see it. I don't see
it either because I don't see them trading into them.
I don't see them coming off of Russell Wilson as long as he wants to be there. And I don't know how much that is, but I think exactly. Then there's that piece. With the conversation of him going possibly to the Bears last season, I don't see Jimmy G going because I feel like Seattle hasn't figured out their situation yet, whether or not Russell leaves.
Yeah, and it seems like he's going to leave because, and I think it's because Pete Carroll wants to run the ball all the fucking time.
Exactly.
And he doesn't want to throw the ball as much as Russell Wilson would like him to. And I think he's just kind of tired of it. They won a Super Bowl together. You can part ways mutually with success. You went to 2, won 1. You almost won a second one if you just hand Marshawn Lynch the ball. I don't know. I don't see what he stands to gain to be in Seattle. I think Russell Wilson could eye some of these jobs like New York City. As much as I love NYC, Jimmy G, Russell Wilson's probably gunning for that job. But we talked about Jimmy G because Jimmy G was part of an NFC Championship game. So
exactly.
Let's get back to the game. Let's flip to the other quarterback, Matt Stafford.
Yes, sir. Happy for him for sure.
Even the interception that he threw, I didn't really have a problem with it. That was when they were down. They were going to score a touchdown. He throws to Cooper Kupp. Cooper's probably like inside the 5-yard line. I think he might have even been at like the 2. And Matt Stafford tries to squeeze him one. The ball gets tipped in the air, and the 49ers guy comes down with it and returns it for like, I think 23 yards or something like that.
Something like that. It was close to it.
I didn't even really I know it's an interception. It's going to count against him on the stat sheet. But when you actually look at the play, it's like, yeah, he's trying to slide one to his best receiver. Like, at the 2-yard line, and Cooper Kupp can definitely make that catch, right? It's like weird shit happened. It bobbled up in the air, and then it was picked off. That was really the only mistake that he made the entire game. And I didn't even really think it was that big of a mistake. Like 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 337 yards, 31 of 45, passer rating of a 96.3. I mean, he balled out. Everyone, you had the Colin Cowards of word saying, oh, why would they trade for Stafford? It didn't work in Detroit. Why would it work in LA? And it's like, I don't know. Probably because OBJ is your number 2. Van Jefferson
number 1 anywhere
3.
else.
All those guys are number ones anywhere. Van Jefferson is a number 2 somewhere else. OBJ is a number 1 on any team.
Not to mention Robert Woods injured on the bench.
Right. Then that's what I'm like, Robert Woods is probably a number 1 on
He
some of
was
these
the number
teams.
1 before Cooper Kupp started to bloom. Cooper Kupp is where he's at now because of Robert Woods' injury, which it blows my mind because it's like one man down, the next man up, and they're just as good, if not better, when it comes to these LA Rams wide receivers. And then, like you said, you throw OBJ in the fucking mix. It is mind-blowing to see what Stafford has been able to do with these 3 guys in the postseason alone, not to mention the regular season.
And Sean McVay deserves a lot of credit too, right? Because Sean McVay,
God.
There are plays where like the Rams will be inside the 10 or something like that. And it's like, why don't you just hand the ball off? You know, you can get hands in that way. And they'll throw like 3 passes to OBJ. And Sean McVay makes sure that he gets his touches. And that's something that he just wasn't going to get in Cleveland because they were siding with the quarterback over the receiver.
Absolutely.
And Matt Stafford is not Baker Mayfield. Matt Stafford is a stud. He's been a stud for a very, very long time. And it was good seeing his family in the booth, like celebrating, realizing they had gotten out of the hellhole that was the Detroit. Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, you saw him for 13 years. Like,
what's crazy to me to think is if he doesn't win this game, the conversations that we're having about whether or not he is that guy, is Matt Stafford really supposed to be where he's at? Is he really that quarterback? And it's like, dude, we saw what he did in Detroit with 1 wide receiver. Look at what he's doing now. He is damn near undefeated in the post. No, he is undefeated in the postseason.
Him and Kupp
with OBJ.
Right. Him and Kupp are electric together too.
Electric. Kupp is an animal on his own. I mean, you get anybody worth their salt in the pocket, he's going to shine. And then you just put Matthew Stafford, you plug and play him in. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Cooper Kupp's stat line for this game, 11 catches, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. As soon as he catches the ball, he can shake you off. Like he's not scrawny, but like he's got a particular build where he's still strong enough to shake guys off, but he doesn't look like Calvin Johnson or anything like that. I mean, and he's shifty, he's elusive. He is everything that you want in a receiver. I don't know. I think he should be considered for MVP a lot more seriously. Let me ask you a question since we're talking about both these guys already. Which is the better story? Is it Matt Stafford leaving Detroit after 13 years and getting a shot at a Super Bowl? Or is it OBJ, who is dragged through the media, even in New York, they say he's a problem in New York. They trade him to Cleveland. They say he's a problem in Cleveland, even though that's starting to look like a completely false narrative. He leaves, forces his way out of Cleveland, goes to LA, and now he's got a shot to win the Super Bowl. What do you think is the better story?
The better story is probably OBJ, but the bigger story is definitely Stafford. I mean, you talk about a bunch of little bitty in between Sunday after Sunday decisions that, whether it be the coach or the head coach or the wide receiver coach or the OC or the DC and them not meshing, you talk about him going to another team and having success versus somebody that was in one team for 13 years, not being able to see success for not anything other than his own fault. The bigger story is definitely Stafford. The better story, probably OBJ though, for sure. A lot more spice in that story, a lot more flair, a lot more social media in that story for sure.
100%. And I saw that Jarvis Landry, who is his teammate in Cleveland, crashed his news conference. Basically said, hey, go get you one. I feel like he's a great locker room guy.
Absolutely.
They love him in the locker room. So that obviously carries a lot of weight. But you know how wide receivers be, man. They need their touches, dude. That's how they
absolutely Divas first.
Bread on the table, right? So I don't know, like the OBJ stuff is definitely, and I felt a lot for him too when he went over and consoled Deebo Samuel on the sideline. I don't know if you saw that, but like
I definitely did.
Deebo Samuel was totally distraught at the end of this game, just distraught.
It speaks more too about the kind of person that OBJ is, to understand, having been there, having been a champion, and then having lost it definitely speaks to the character of OBJ and the kind of person that you definitely want to see as a wide receiver moving forward. Still can be flashy, still can be that guy. He's going to have the chains, he's going to have the jewelry, but he can show you that he's a person of substance even when he's winning. So, I love that. I definitely love that visual for sure.
The poor Debo, he balled out, right? I mean, for the 49ers, 4 catches, 72 yards. And then he had a touchdown catch as well. And then he led the team in rushing too. 7 carries, 26 yards. That's where the game was really lost for the 49ers. They couldn't run the ball to save their fucking lives. And it was just up front. The Rams just dominated them. Aaron Donald dominated. It was a really impressive performance. Eric Weddle played great in the backfield for them. Like, they basically
coming out of retirement, baby.
9 total tackles, 4 solo, and 1 tackle for loss. I mean, he balled out, obviously. The big thing for this game for me, and it's kind of an indictment against Jimmy G, no sacks for the Rams. The Rams didn't put him on the ground once. They pressured the shit out of him. Again, you have an example of Jimmy G where things go right, and still you're in this 2017 dogfight, and you end up blowing the lead that you had. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't bode well for Jimmy G's stats, Jimmy G's prospects for like future employment, I guess. You know, there are a lot of
absolutely
in the market. So
no, I don't know.
Ultimately, it's like execution for me, right? Like the Rams executed better than the 49ers did, right?
For sure. And every opportunity that they had, every drive, every down, they did better with the ball than the 49ers did, and it showed.
Yeah, and the interception at the end of the game that Jimmy G threw to get the field goal kicked. He threw he was going down, he was getting tackled or whatever, and he kind of flipped it out. I actually didn't really hate that play. There was a receiver there, and if you take a sack there, you're in deep shit. So he's trying to get rid of the ball, and it obviously tips off the defender, the interception, and then the game's over, right?
For sure.
They executed better on defense. They executed better on offense down the stretch. They just didn't execute as well as the Rams.
Absolutely.
Did.
Every chance they were given, they did not capitalize. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And with Jimmy G gone, now Trey Lance, I'm assuming, is stepping up for the 49ers.
Smart assumption.
Yeah, I mean, they drafted him. I think he'll be ready to go. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Deebo Samuel and if they can push, because Jimmy G can't push the ball down the field. Trey Lance has a fucking cannon, and he's mobile. I mean,
they are. It'd be interesting for sure. Like you said, whether they focus on Deebo being a pure wide receiver, just getting downfield, and then, like you said, his skill set and being able to connect with him. I'd love to see their pre-camp. Let's just say that their summer camp for sure.
And simplify his life a little bit. Like, it's great that Deebo Samuel's like a Swiss Army knife, and you can use him on some of these run plays. But I think I think defenses pick up on it. Like, I think they just kind of hone in on that sort of thing. Take less off of his plate. Like, let him go down the field instead of having to worry about doing a fucking sweep. Like, I don't know. Draft a running back and stop putting miles on Deebo Samuel that you don't have to, right?
Exactly. And I think with the kind of player that he is, the kind of doggishness that he plays with, we start talking about whether or not he's a premier wide receiver in this league, if he can play just wide receiver. I mean, the speed, the agility, the mechanics. It's scary to see Deebo Samuels play wide receiver. It really is, to me at least.
Some people would actually say he flew under the radar this year because
absolutely,
get off to such a hot start.
Absolutely.
They caught on like wildfire there at the end, which is exactly what you want for a team trying to make a playoff push. And they got to the NFC Championship game. I mean,
I heard a lot about them not being the home team, though. I'd like to talk about that. Even though they are at home, I guess they're not the home team. So that factors in a lot as well in terms of mind games and your fan base and a lot of stuff like that. Because how does that work? Explain that to me. How are you at home but not the home team?
I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. I think during the regular season, when ticket prices are low and anybody can go into the stadium, I think in Los Angeles it benefits away teams, especially with the Chargers. I mean, if you ever listen to a Chargers broadcast, most of the time you can hear the other team's chants are louder. They don't fill the stadium there. The Rams might be a little bit different, but the Rams are newcomers on the scene to LA as well.
That's true. That's true.
This game is way different. This game, the ticket prices are going to be in the thousands of dollars.
And moving forward, too.
And that really excludes, if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I think that excludes you more because you got to get a flight to go to LA. You need a hotel that you need to be shacked up in. You have to pay, if a decent Super Bowl ticket is going to be several $1,000s. And I don't know what the prices look like now, but you can't compare what SoFi Stadium is like in the regular season compared to it hosting a Super Bowl.
Postseason. Right? I mean, no, I hear you. I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. But then again, I saw more red and gold with the wide shots when they were playing the 49ers than I did blue and gold. So I think that says a lot about it as well, especially with the postseason.
Well, same state. I mean, how far is the drive from San Francisco to LA?
That's true. You don't have to travel as far.
You're willing to do it. And Californians, dude, like they live in a state where there's such a huge distance mileage wise that they think like a drive from San Francisco to LA is not that bad. You know exactly. What I mean? So like, dude, you know what, man? How about we do this? This will be fun. I'm going to look it up.
Let's look it up. Because I'm sitting here thinking when they played the Cardinals, I was at Westgate and I couldn't tell which was a jersey for 49ers and which was a Cardinals jersey. So, and it turned out it was more 49ers jerseys here in Glendale, which was absolutely mind-blowing.
This is a completely like arbitrary
fact.
Well, it's an arbitrary, I guess, measurement because, I said downtown San Francisco. San Francisco to SoFi Stadium, 6 hours and 4 minutes.
It's really not that long of a drive, especially if you're going to make a trip out of going to the game. I mean,
that's at 8 o'clock at night.
That's true.
So it's around the Super Bowl time, right? I mean, like, if you live in California, I don't think driving 6 hours from San Francisco to LA is, I don't think they see it like that. So I think that's what explains it. Short. You don't have to hop on a flight. Maybe they get a hotel somewhere and then they drive back. You know what I mean? I don't know. With the Super Bowl, I just think who knows who's going to be buying tickets to this game. Like the Super Bowl is kind of a crapshoot when it comes to who shows up, right? You obviously, fans of the teams get discounted tickets, I think.
That's true.
But if they're still not going to be cheap, and if you're Cincinnati, you got to fly out there.
I think we'll see I think we'll see a 50-50 kind of a situation. That's what I think. Because I think this Cincinnati team is one that Cincinnati could not wait to get behind in terms of fan base. So, yeah, they'll definitely travel. The hardcore ones will travel, especially for the weather. If nothing else, it's fucking miserable in Cincinnati right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh, yeah. If you're looking for an excuse to get out of town and go enjoy Los Angeles.
To the Super Bowl? I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
I've been seeing shots from the ground. They already have some of the broadcasters out there. So Pat McAfee, the guy that I take a lot of inspiration from, he's got a booth set up with FanDuel. Across from him are Sirius XM guys. They're already there, boots on the ground, right? Like the Super Bowl.
That's what I was gonna say. This is the week. This is Super Bowl week. That's right.
And fucking Joe Burrow. I really hope.
Money Burrow, baby. Joe fucking Money Burrow. I love him. The swagger is unmatched. The swagger is unmatched. Let's just say that.
Oh my gosh, the drip. Did you see the black turtleneck with the fucking was it a bird?
The glasses with the chain and
yeah. And then the
my boy's out here.
LSU football wristband.
My boy is out here. My boy is out here. I love it.
He ain't my boy.
No, he's not your boy. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's not fair. That is not fair. You would happen to be a Ravens fan, and the Cincinnati Bengals would happen to be up and coming. That is just not fair.
It's my waking nightmare. The first year I decided to do a podcast.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
How do you think I felt when Rodgers takes over for Favre?
That's an unfortunate situation because you had Favre before that.
Exactly. Oh. So it's not like you're going from one slump to another. You're going from a legendary quarterback to somebody that's making his fucking way into being legendary. So yeah, we can't get a break. We cannot get a break.
I will say this though. Rodgers' playoff career is real shoddy if you take out that Super Bowl run.
It's disrespectful to Tom Brady, if nothing else, because you talk about Rodgers in a way that you should talk about Tom Brady. This man has 7 championship rings. Don't get me started.
Well,
TB12,
hey, I mean,
ladies and gentlemen.
from Ravens experience, I mean, look at Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's playoff numbers are unbelievable. You would look at that quarterback and be like, whoa, what the fuck? He's got like 20 playoff wins? What the hell?
Exactly.
Like, Joe Flacco back in the day, I mean, whenever Brady talks about it, he's like, oh, yeah, when we were really banging it out with the Patriots, Roethlisberger obviously was out of this world. And he's like, oh, yeah, Joe Flacco back in the day, like that motherfucker could sling it. And that's how Tom Brady
true black and blue division. That's
a
true black and blue division for sure.
Yeah, and he was, those AFC North teams, they always gave Brady a hard time. So I don't know about the Super Bowl stuff. I just feel like the tickets are so expensive. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
You're looking into Super Bowl tickets for Glendale, not this year, but next year, right?
2023, baby, 2023. To be continued. Let's just say that. But I definitely I am inquiring.
And I bet those tickets are going to be like, they're going to ask you for like half your leg and half your house and all this other stuff.
You'd be surprised. The package is actually not too bad. I don't want to give too much away. But if I'm going, he's going.
Especially if Lamar Jackson's going to be playing, which he should be. I mean, there's a fuel under his feet now, or there's fire under his feet now because of what Joe Burrow did. And especially finishing last in the division, by the way.
I think that really hits that. The kind of person Lamar is, I think he takes that personally, certainly.
Hey, do we want to talk about some news as well for this week? Some guys got hired in places. There's some controversy in the NFL that's going on with the Brian Flores stuff. Like,
spill it, baby. Let's get into it a little bit, yeah. Because I know we didn't have too many notes, but yeah, there's some things we have to talk about.
So this is obviously an NFC podcast, but the Brian Flores stuff has far-reaching implications for both of these conferences. And I feel like we should talk about it. It's a class action lawsuit, and he's alleging discrimination in the hiring processes at the NFL. And to be fair, the way that he lost his job, when he lost his job with the Dolphins, I think everybody was kind of in agreement, like, what the fuck just happened there? Like, why would the Dolphins do that?
A little sketchy for sure.
Yeah, with the way the season ended, I mean, I don't know, but it's just kind of interesting that it's a class action suit. Like, it seems like previous coaches like Hugh Jackson, they're on board with it. They've spoken out against it. A lot of former players have spoken out against it. I just don't know if you're going to have a whole lot of coaches who may be getting head coaching jobs. I mean, like we saw today, Lovie Smith is going to take over for the Houston Texans.
Absolutely.
Side note, have you seen Lovie Smith recently?
I have not, and it's probably for the better.
Okay. He's going to Houston, and I saw a picture of him. He looks exactly like James Harden, but he's old man James Harden. He's got the beard, but it's
old man Harden.
And I was like, whoa. I was like, that is a fierce beard. He's keeping that as a head coach, right? He has to.
He has to. You got to take that into the regular season.
Look at a picture of it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm convinced that it's James Harden in disguise to try and spy on the Rockets and manipulate their season and their fortunes, but it looks just like
he is in Houston. I forgot about that.
Dude, it is fucking wild.
You have to keep that beard.
He gets hired for the Texans head coaching job. That's the news for that. It almost seems like, I hope it's not one of those things where they see this lawsuit come out and the owners, they take some short term, we'll satisfy people now, this issue will go away sort of thing. I hope that that's not what's going on. It's interesting that this is coming out now, and it could affect coaching and coaching hires for the foreseeable future in the NFL. And the NFL doesn't like being sued. So anybody who tacks onto this, they're kind of risking their NFL coaching careers, right?
Risking their biscuits. And two things, like you said, it's interesting that it's class action and not collusion with a lot of the things that have come out in terms of the information that has come out. It's interesting that it's class action. And then, yeah, like you said, the implications, everything that happened and how it happened more so than anything. You got the leaked text messages from Bill Belichick. It's really messy. The fact that he's African-American first and foremost, and the conversations we've had in terms of the struggles with them getting coaching positions or head coaching positions in this league as it is. So, yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see how this completely plays out, seeing as though he wasn't necessarily unsuccessful in Miami, but now that he knows more than he should, he's out. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for sure.
Yeah, and I think he has acknowledged the fact that it's going to cost him his job. And I think he's he's just like, all right, man, whatever.
He's accepted it.
More important. Yeah. And I think it's interesting that it's coming from the coaching level now.
Exactly.
It's sort of like you had Kaepernick on the player's side, and now you have Brian Flores kind of being a maybe not an equal because he's fighting for something specific, right?
Definitely in a position of authority, though.
Yeah, a position of authority, a position that you can't just, it's not easy to replace a coach. If you replace a player, it doesn't necessarily sink your team, right? But if you replace a coach, you're now replacing, a locker room philosophy. Schemes may go out the window depending on who your coach is. You got to completely revamp that whole thing. So it's very interesting that he made this move, but he wasn't a coach to begin with. The Dolphins fucking fired him.
Exactly.
And I don't know, there's some head coaches in this league that, there are 32 of these jobs, right? You're going to fire Brian Flores the same year that Urban Meyer gets fired. And I think there's a big difference between those two. That was the worst coaching tenure. The only one that might have been worse was Bobby Petrino.
That was pretty damn bad.
Right. Okay,
and everything that fell out because of it, for sure.
Oh, man. So the fallout from that, the Bobby Petrino stuff in 2005, 2006, it wasn't necessarily for misconduct, though. Like, Bobby Petrino was brought into Atlanta because Mike Vick was the quarterback. And they thought, holy shit, Bobby Petrino and Mike Vick together, he's going to take Mike Vick to the next level. And that was the year that Mike Vick went to jail for dogfighting. So Bobby Petrino came in. Mike Vick wasn't his quarterback. And Bobby Petrino just fucking rolled out and didn't tell his team, didn't tell anybody, just left in the middle of the night and left an email and bounced to Arkansas.
Gone. I'm out of here.
What a colossal failure for Trevor Lawrence's first year.
Yeah, it's really not fair to, once again, you talking about the trajectory of these young players' careers. NFL, a lot of times people think standing for not for long. They're not going to be playing this game a long time. Do you really have time to utilize his first and second years as an experimentation phase, whether or not Urban Meyer is going to work in the big leagues? And it's kind of unfair to these players, but now we know, it's one of those situations where now we know. Let's move on. So, and
you saw some good things from Trevor Lawrence, right? Like he spoke up for
James
Robinson when he was like, I don't understand why the best guy on our team is not getting the ball. Why is he sitting on the bench? And Trevor Lawrence stepped up and said, yeah, that's got to change. This is a rookie quarterback. He shouldn't be saying these kind of things, in the sense that he should be saying them as a quarterback, but you should have a head coach that's handling that shit.
Saying it for him, especially in his first year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Golly, what a shit show. Okay, bro, is there anything that we missed? We covered, this is supposed to be an NFC Championship breakdown, but there's so much of the story.
It had to be covered, for sure.
I have a real emotional attachment to what happens with Matt Stafford here. I really want him to win.
I think he wins. I think he definitely wins his Super Bowl. I think it's one of those situations where we've seen him go as long as he's gone without success, without this type of success, without this level of success. And now he's finally there going up against the rookie quarterback who doesn't have any postseason experience. I think that's one of the only things that's going against Joe Burrow. Let me mention that now, because with the swagger that he plays with, the confidence he plays with, the athleticism he plays with, having the Jamar Chase connection, Mixon really getting a chance to ball, they're going to have a problem with these Bengals, with this Bengal team, this young Bengals team. However, I think they emerge victorious because you just, once again, every player in every position is better and they execute better. So we're in for a very good Super Bowl for sure.
I only caught about half of what you were saying, because you said Joe Burrow, and then I just heard this really high pitched ringing in my ear, and I was wow, that's a weird noise. And then and then it went away when you said, but I don't.
Matt Stafford.
And I'm like, oh man, that was bizarre. Like that's so.
What
like,
happened there? I mean,
were you talking about Joe Burrow when that was happening? Like, what did you say?
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that because I was just a little bit. I was gushing a little
What did
bit,
you say? I missed it.
Basically, the swagger that and the confidence that he plays with, like I said.
See, it's back again. The ringing in my ear, it's back again. It's back
I love
again.
it.
And I don't know I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, Rams are going to win this weekend, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what you said about Joe Burrow. I'm sure that people heard it. I'm sure it's just like it's a thing on my end, but it's going to be
technical difficulties going on.
Game. Hey, another guy we haven't talked about that this is big for. Aaron Donald gets another crack to get a Super Bowl. He's fired up about this.
Gotta be. You see him pointing to his finger after that last sack or that last pressure where they go with the 49ers go down and they really seal the game, and it kind of hammers home the kind of player he is. It's one of those things where he's going to get a ring eventually. It's just one of the questions of a matter of time, when, and I think this is his win for sure.
Yeah, the people are calling him a future Hall of Famer already, and I think he deserves that praise. I think a Super Bowl championship really starts elevating him into Reggie White conversations and some of these guys that historically have played the game. I think Aaron Donald deserves that. I think there are games that he doesn't show up as much. I think he's in a position on the field where you can only influence the game so much. But the games that he shows up, he's absolutely double team, triple team. And this Cincinnati offensive line, man, they better be ready. They better be ready for what they're
exactly
going to do. It's hard for me to imagine, though. I mean, with the Titans game, they sacked him 9 times and he still won. It's like, fuck. How much damage can they do?
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Will that really take a toll on his play? And obviously, we're talking about 2 different teams with the Bengals and the Titans. So,
yeah, no, that's true, 100%. Okay, this has been a lot of fun. I feel like we talked about a lot of stuff. Later on in the week, we're going to have another podcast on here for Chi-Town and Charm City. We're going to be doing a Super Bowl preview. I want to do prop bets with you for the Super Bowl.
Oh, man, we're going to do prop bets, huh? All right.
Yeah, like a special prop bet, does somebody fuck up the national anthem? What's the over-under on that? We got to figure out.
First and foremost, we got to talk about our Super Bowl plans. What are we doing? Where are we watching the game? What's going on?
That's a good question. How about this? I'll look into that, and when we do our podcast on Friday for the preview, I'll tease it.
We'll reveal our tease for sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Let's do that. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Sounds good.
Let's do a prop bets Super Bowl pod, because those are always kind of fun. I don't know,
absolutely.
It's kind of fun guessing whether or not the halftime show is going to be. It's going to be a flamethrower, dude. Snoop Dogg,
that is going to be crazy.
Ray, Missy Elliott,
Mary J. Blige, Missy Elliott, Eminem. That's just going to be fucking nuts. It's going to be nuts, dude.
It's going to be awesome.
Nuts.
So California. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then we'll preview the Super Bowl a little bit. And then Sunday, dude, let's fucking do it. Let's fucking hang out. Maybe we have like a live react.
Hey, I think we talked about that. Did we not? Live watching, a live viewing of the game. YouTube live, baby. Yeah, a little something.
It's gonna be weird though. I mean, when Joe Burrow scores touchdowns, I think that our my service is kind of shoddy.
He said the feed is gonna go in and out.
It's probably, and we'll probably miss those plays, and I'm probably never gonna want to watch them. So those plays.
That's gonna be detrimental.
But I mean, we're gonna see a lot of good Rams plays. I mean, it's so weird. I feel like the quality will really improve when Joe Burrow is on the ground a billion times. Because Aaron Donald has just decided to tear into it.
Maul him.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm sure at that point, 5K. No, 8K. It'll be 8K.
8K. For sure, 8K resolution. First game ever broadcast is 8K.
I'll see the beads of sweat from Joe Burrow and Aaron Donald connect. Whoa. Zoom it back out. I don't need to see this shit. It's
too far. Way too much.
Yeah, let's work that out. Let's figure something out. We might as well.
Let me know.
All right, I'll contact you from my secret compound. You contact me from your secret compound, and we'll figure something out. And we'll definitely have an answer for all the people on Friday. Speaking of the people, Thank you so much for all the new subscribers that we have. We're getting new subscribers every single day, it seems like now. We really appreciate your support. We really appreciate, this is great. And especially for two guys who are very good friends and who have two different football interests, you're going to find something on Flock Squawk that you're bound to fall in love with whatever fandom you associate with. So we have a lot of fun. Josh, it was great seeing you as always.
Stay tuned.
Sir. And stay tuned because we might be doing things for the Super Bowl. I think that's a good idea. We'll coordinate.
For sure.
Everybody have a great rest of your week. There was supposed to be a divisional wrap-up pod. I have it. I was running into issues on the editing side of it, so I'm going to have both of those podcasts up this week. And then we're going to have our other one up. So you expect 3 Chi-Town and Charm City podcasts this week.
Oh boy. I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm hyped too. So look out for that stuff. Look out for Flock Squawk. We just put out a video today with a special guest that I've known and Chad have known forever. And thank you so much for supporting us. Everybody take it easy. Have a great weekend. It's Super Bowl weekend and go LA. Right? Go LA. That's what we're doing.
Go LA. I like it. Go LA. You
hesitated. Why'd you hesitate? What are you hesitating for?
Hey, man. Hey, Money Burrow, baby. That's all I'll say.
We'll figure out that audio thing. I don't know what's going on. Okay, everybody, you have a good rest of your weekend.
I don't know what's happening.